do I really need to audit my smart contract? A lot of people ask me this question. And most would say yes, you need to audit before you go to mainnet, before you go live. But there are actually some details here that are important, and it's not always that you need to audit everything before going to mainnet. So essentially, what is an audit in the end? Most normal users and most non-tech savvy VCs and entrepreneurs think that it is some kind of assurance that your code doesn't have any flaws and that your code isn't going to get exploited. But this is a misconception. An audit is not a certificate, it's not a guarantee. An audit is a study, a consultancy. Some people that are specialized in security are going to look at your code, perform a lot of tests, and try to find ways to break it. They're going to report all the ways that they found to you. This is very useful because you can fix those errors and actually make sure that your code cannot be broken by those security specialists. So it means that it's very sound. But it doesn't mean at all that there isn't any hidden bug that no one has found yet. And if you think about it, an audit lasts for about 1 month, maybe 2 months. But after you go live into mainnet, hackers are going to have years of your application running to try to find something. So it's always possible that they find something, even if you have a very good audit at the beginning. If you want to understand how an audit works behind the scenes, I have a video explaining in detail how it works that I'm going to link below here. But assuming that you know what an audit is, so when do I need to audit my project? Do I need to? Most users are going to demand, or at least feel bad, if they are interacting in mainnet with a project that doesn't have an audit, especially if they're committing funds to it on the long term. So if you're offering some kind of opportunity for people to stake their tokens for a year, for instance, and you don't have an audit, that's very disturbing, because people are going to have trust that your app is not going to get hacked for a whole year before they can withdraw their token. On the other hand, if your app is something that has shorter-lived transactions, or that doesn't really use the user's money in a locked manner, you may be able to launch the project at first without an audit and still be able to get a lot of users, a lot of VCs interested before you actually have to spend your money for the audit. This is what Tornado Cash did, for instance. Tornado Cash actually launched into mainnet without an audit. They had a lot of warnings in the site saying, the code is not audited, this is an experiment, use it at your own risk, this is experimental. Even though that message, those very red messages were there, a lot of people used the app with success and loved the experience, which helped them gain traction and find new investment opportunities. And audits are expensive, so this might be a good thing for you to do if you're running, for instance, a play-to-earn game or some kind of different application that doesn't really lock users' funds for the long term, that you're able to manage things in case something goes wrong. So there are ways to launch without the audit, but you should have plans to have an audit as soon as possible, especially if you need money for it. And how much does an audit cost? It really varies a lot. If it's your first time looking for an auditor, you're probably going to have been seeing 30K, Hacken, OpenZeppelin. Those auditors are very expensive and they are very well known. And most of their value comes from the fact that they are so well known that everyone goes to them to find their audits, and also everyone trusts them. That's very expensive. It's hard to get an audit from them for less than $30,000. So it might be overwhelming for new projects. That being said, there are two things you look for in an audit. One is marketing, so you want to have a good name behind just saying that your project is secure. And the second is actual security. So you want to have a good report, a good study being done to make sure your app is actually secure. And those two, they don't always walk together. Those big auditors are always going to get you a great name on your website and a lot of trust from VCs. But when it comes to the auditor's quality, they have a very high quality. I'm not going to say that they don't, but they're not always specialized in different areas. You may find very different kinds of specialists in the audit space. So you have auditors that specialize in cryptography, specialize in DeFi, specialize in a specific blockchain, let's say in Aptos or in EVM blockchains or in Near protocol, whatever. So those more specific auditors are usually better suited to actually assess the security of your code when it has one of those specificities. And the big auditors are usually used by companies to gain a good name and actually gain the marketing from it. So depending on the phase of the project that you are in, it might be more interesting to look at a smaller auditor that is more specialized and cheaper. There are also some called tier 3 auditors that are not as specialized as the best specialized auditors, but are very cheaper than a normal audit. And they might also be a good choice for you if you're starting out, because maybe your application is not as complex as most that are audited in large firms, and you can still get the benefits of the audit without spending as much. You can find all these kinds of auditors. Our firm, Hackachain, for instance, performs audits especially in alternative blockchains. So we work a lot at the Near protocol, Aptos, Sui, Cadena, and we usually are focused on DeFi applications on these networks. If your application is one of those, you can talk to us. We'll show you how we work and different kinds of proposals. But as us, there are a lot of different players out there who perform audits for different scenarios that you can reach out to. So it's good to understand the different possibilities. And what's important to consider when you choose your audit? Price is one thing, naming the market is another. You have to see if they have experience, how many people they have already audited, how strong they are in the social media if you're looking for marketing. So if they're going to be posting about you, you have to consider the value you're gaining out of it. So always look for that, but also look for the technical skills. In the video that I'm linking below showing how an audit works, I also teach you some tricks on how to see if auditors are good or not when you're interviewing them or first talking to their salespeople before you actually pay for their services. So it's very important to understand if they have the skills too, or if they are adventurous, or if it's a firm that's overwhelmed, that's throwing just junior auditors at you. So it's important to check that out. In case you have any other questions, feel free to comment here. I will answer everyone. We can have a chat. You can learn more about audits in our channel as well. Nice talking to you guys.